And there we go. We're live.
Survivor Specialist Phil and Alexa are back. 2 episodes of Survivor left. That's it. We're down to the final 6. Lauren Rimmer is out. Lauren is also at Ponderosa, just chilling. She's having like the time of her life right now. She's stoked. Anyway,
she's fishing a ton. She's in her happy place.
Right. She's crabbing and stuff. She's ready to go. And yeah, we got our final 6. Really all over the place, final 6. Even the way people talk about each other at the Ponderosas is interesting. Like Lauren talking to Joe, where it was like, yeah, the plan was to get rid of Ben or Chrissy next, and then talking about how Joe was a threat. It's kind of funny. Like they all kind of like agree that he was a threat, and then like Joe was the one who actually said we're all a threat in our own way, which I thought was interesting because you would think that they would probably say to Joe, we're all a threat in our own way, meaning like Joe, you can never win. But maybe Joe was actually doing all right.
I think Joe was doing all right. I think it's just the people who didn't like Joe were very loud about it, and the people who did like Joe were not super loud about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, the people who are loudest about it are the ones that we just assume like everyone else is agreeing with. I think they all kind of liked Joe. Like Lauren and Joe, I would have loved to see more of their relationship, because talk about 2 people who could not be more different, but kind of had something in common. I mean, Joe went and went on that fishing trip with her. They're a very active group. This is a very active Ponderosa crew.
They are very active, and that's I really thought it was interesting that Joe like went with her, and they just kept on saying like, what did they call him, Mr. Cheap Cheap? What was it? What did they keep calling him? It's so funny.
I don't know, but they're probably having a field day with him.
Yeah, like I thought it was really funny. But yeah, I mean, it was like a fun little Ponderosa. It wasn't as good. I think the Joe one was my favorite one still, but this was a good Ponderosa. Got to dig in a little bit more to, what's going on with this group. And it seems like you said, it seems like a really tight group. And I'm going to be interested these last 6, how like people view them once they actually get there. Because it seems like everybody's getting along when they get to Ponderosa, but like from what we've seen so far, we don't really have any heroes left. So I'm curious to see like how people are going to view each other once they get there.
I think if anyone, like it's like 3, assuming there's a final 3, there's 3 people who don't go to Ponderosa. I think if Devin, Ashley, or Dr. Mike go to Ponderosa, everything goes as status quo. I think if Ryan, Ben, or Chrissy go to Ponderosa, then we'd get those more awkward videos that we've seen in the past.
Well, and what I thought was interesting is that Lauren made it seem like Ben's original plan was to use the fake idol to use on Joe to embarrass Joe, which I thought was interesting. And like they didn't want any part of it. We were shown that he was talking about doing that with Chrissy, but it's kind of like crazy how personal Ben is playing this game right now. Like he wants to humiliate people. It's kind of crazy.
And Lauren called she called that out to us in her confessional, but she said, Ben wants to do this just to embarrass Chrissy. And we saw that, we saw like a similar situation when Ben was playing Secret Agent about how he wanted to do that with Joe too. So we're seeing a lot of this side of Ben. It's really odd. And one thing kind of before we go into current players, Lauren was the first person who came to Ponderosa on this season where they didn't outwardly say it, but I felt the vibe of they were like, you know what, if you got to the end, you were going to win this. And sometimes like that's not something you want to hear the moment you get voted out, especially with only 1 vote. But you see, like I remember Kelly Monroth is the first one who comes to me. She comes in and they were like, yeah, if you made it an extra night, you were going to win this thing, which is just awful to hear. And I felt that vibe with Lauren too. I felt like they all really, really liked her.
Well, and there was the same thing with David Wright. Like when David Wright gets there, like Brett's like, I almost feel bad. Like I blew up your game for no reason. Like, why did I do this to you? I should have I all of a sudden I'm realizing like you deserve to win. I didn't want to do this. So yeah, I mean, that happens all the time though. There's always people who go early. Tyler had the same thing happen to him in Worlds Apart where everybody's like, you would have won if you made it, man. Like that's all you had to do. And that's the fun part of the game is all you had to do is get to the end, and then you have somebody like, sorry, Troyzan, but somebody like Troyzan who gets to the end and doesn't get a vote. So that's why the game is fun.
For sure.
All right, let's talk power rankings, which at this point, it's been like a waste.
May as well just not happen.
Yeah, we both had Lauren at number 1 last week. That was fun. Good call for both of us. I will say though, we're gonna obviously when we do our predictions for the finale, we'll get more in depth into like all the possibilities of like a final 3 and like what would happen in each final 3 scenario and all that fun stuff. But I will say that I almost feel like I think I know how the rest of this game is going to play out. And I think it starts with Ben going home this week. So I'm just going to say Ben's my number 6. And I really think that it's his time. It's going to be so hard for him to get through this. He's not very good at challenges, and he's public enemy number 1. He got 6 votes last week. They clearly want to get him out. He's going to have to go find another idol. But there's other people out there who have found idols. Mike's found an idol. Ryan's found an idol. I don't think that Ben is going to be able to sneak through this episode. I think this is finally going to be the end for him. That's it for Ben. And then what I think is going to happen is that you're going to then lose either Ashley or Devin at the beginning of the finale. So I'll put Ashley at 5 because I think she has a worse chance to win, and I'll put Devin at 4. Whole thing, Alexa, just so you know. I'm going to put Chrissy at 3 because I still think Chrissy can go home, but I also don't think anybody really think that this is her time to go. Like, I think that Ben might try to gun for her, but like Ashley and Devin, I think would be kind of dumb to side with Chrissy at this point if they think they can pull Mike. If they don't think they can pull Mike, then they have to side with Ben. But if they think they can pull Mike, then, you know.
I kind of lost you at that last sentence, but I think I kind of got what you were saying about pulling Dr. Mike.
Yeah, if they want to pull Dr. Mike, then they obviously vote out Ben if they think they can pull him at Final 5. But if they don't think they can pull him at Final 5, then
Okay, cool. Since you're halfway through, do you want to go bottom to top on yours, and then I'll go bottom to top on mine?
Yeah, that's fine. So I got Ben 6, Ashley 5, Devin 4, Chrissy 3, Ryan 2. Because if somebody's going to win out of Ryan and Chrissy, I think it's going to be Ryan. And I got Mike at number 1 because I think Mike's in the best position in the game. I think Mike is going to be needed. He's not the most threatening person left. He's not even top 3 most threatening people left. And then he's going to be needed at Final 5. So I really think that Mike is going to go to the Final 3. You can write it in marker, but I just don't know how he gets there. Yeah, exactly. I just don't know how he wins once he gets there.
You can write it in whiteboard marker.
Exactly. So that it kind of erases, but then you need to get all like the crappy eraser stuff that supposedly makes it worse.
Or you can be that like that person in math class who's like super convinced that they're writing something in like, what is it, that expo marker, but you're really just putting Sharpie on the dry erase board, and your incorrect math problem is there for the entire world to see.
Exactly.
It's never happened for me ever.
Forever.
Never happens ever. Okay, so for mine, my bottom is pretty similar to yours. Top, I kind of flip around a little bit. I have Ben at number 6, and Ben ended up winning MVP for this week, and I'm writing his MVP spotlight right now, and a lot of it is this guy has had to go home. It's kind of like the Joe situation. This guy was supposed to go home every single time, and he's maneuvered his way out of it, and good on him. But now there's nowhere left to hide. His idol is gone. I don't know if they're going to replant a new idol. I hope that they don't, but they probably will. And now everyone knows how much of a threat he is. He kept that idol a secret, and they all voted for him. They all went for him. Devin went for him. So I have him at number 6. Devin, I have at number 5. I think it's now fairly obvious that Devin is playing, and especially with what he said about if Ashley wins individual immunity, it's basically like I win individual immunity. That's a very dangerous thing to say, and it's really not a great thing to say, especially when Ashley has won 2 immunities and you two were on a pre-merge tribe together. So they definitely have a predetermined relationship that everyone probably knows about. We just haven't seen them talk about it before. Ryan, I have Ryan at number 4. I literally don't know why. I don't know where else to put him. I go with Mike at number 3. Mike, I understand why people do want to bring him to the final 3, and I understand that people don't respect him and think that he's playing erratically, and I completely agree with that. But it really blows my mind that no one has said that Mike has 3 guaranteed votes sitting on the jury. That's that's my biggest red flag with him. So if I'm Chrissy or if I'm Ryan or Ashley and I'm looking for someone who I can beat, I don't want to bring someone who has 3 no questions asked guaranteed votes.
Nobody's really bringing that up. It's almost like they're looking at Dr. Mike as like a non-factor. But really right now, Dr. Mike is the most powerful player in this game because he has no allegiance to anybody and he has votes on that jury.
And maybe they're thinking that like Desi, Cole, and Joe won't respect him, but I think that they do, because I think that healer group is so tight, and Joe and Mike especially, they had a lot of mutual respect for each other. They played 2 really different games, but that blows my mind that no one has really thought about that yet. I guess there's still time to vote him out, But like you said, I mean, I don't think he's going to win an individual immunity, but you keep bringing up that he said, I'm not going home without winning an immunity. And
here you go.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Alexa, I'm telling you, he's going to get through this vote. He's going to go at final 5. He's going to be the swing. At final 4, Mike is going to win immunity. Mike is going to be the person who wins at final 4, picks somebody to come with him to final tribal, and then have the two opposing sides of either Chrissy and Devin or Ryan and Devin, or Ryan and Ashley, or Chrissy and Devin, Chrissy and Ashley. One of those they're gonna end up facing off because he's gonna take the other one, and I bet he would end up taking Chrissy with him because he thinks he can beat Chrissy. So I bet you're gonna see Mike win, take Chrissy with him to the end, and then you're gonna see a fire-making challenge between Ryan, who would be a perfect 4th place finisher, and either Devin or Ashley. That's what I'm kind of predicting right now.
Yeah, I think like between what we both said, I think that's probably what's going to happen with Mike. It's really surprising to me. This has been a season of underestimation, and the thing about Dr. Mike is that, yeah, maybe they're not underestimating his gameplay, but they're underestimating his jury pull. And there has been some weird, if not very poor, jury management this season. And that's why I think they're going to come out and be a very angry and bitter jury. And I'm perfectly fine with bitter juries, but I think anyone who would be surprised by that hasn't been watching this season, because there's been a lot of rubbing the wrong way this season.
Well, I think it depends on who sits there at the final tribal, if they're bitter or not. It's kind of like people were so bitter towards Sugar, and I'll just keep using the Gabon comparisons, but people were so bitter towards Sugar because she was ruthless to them the entire game. She annoyed them, and she freaking played with them the entire time, and it was hilarious to watch. Like, she was the reason that, hey, Bob, give that fake idol to Randy. Let's let him play that for no reason. Like, so many little moments.
Do you want to make a Ben comparison right there? I mean, that's
exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Sugar was the devil to Bob. There was no devil to Ben. Everybody was like, Ben, do not do that. So they might be bitter, but I don't think they're going to be like an All-Stars bitter or a Gabon bitter. But what I do find interesting is, like you said, Mike could win this game not because they're impressed with his gameplay, but just because he's got pull over there. The whole thing with Mike right now is he might not be playing that good of a game at all, but on a season like this, that's the type of person who can win, just the most likable one. Bob Crowley is always considered one of the worst winners ever, but he won the game on a season where there's been returners. You had Corinne come back, Randy come back, Sugar come back, Kenny should have come back. Somehow he hasn't. Crystal was fun to watch. Charlie's great. Mark is great. You had so many great characters there. He didn't play that great of a game, but he did the best in terms of, you guys let me get here and I'm the most likable. That's all I had to be in this season. Nobody really liked Susie all that much. And guess what? That's exactly what could happen with Mike if it's Ryan, Chrissy, and Mike. Because right now Chrissy has burned just about every bridge we've seen. And then Ryan, I can't really get a grip on if he's burned every bridge. It seems like he has. It seems like everybody who trusted him now no longer trusts him. And if it gets down to that final 3, people might just be like, Mike, you are the lesser of the 3 evils. This month.
Yeah, I think this vote, I mean, most if not all final tribal council votes are essentially based on I like you more than the other people you're sitting with. But I think this one will be more so because of just how erratic all of the gameplay is. We've said that there's been a lot of interesting gameplay, not necessarily good gameplay, great TV gameplay, but that's kind of where I'm that's how I'm seeing things net out. And then just to finish mine up, I go Ashley at number 2. One, because she keeps winning individual immunities and no one's talking about it. Like, yes, Devin kind of, I'm not saying he let her win, but like he dropped so that she could win because it was essentially the same thing for the two of them. But on a season where we have voted out every person who's won an individual immunity pretty much after they win it, it's really surprising that she's still staying under the radar. And then on top of that, she doesn't have the title of Ben or like Chrissy across her forehead because she has been playing a more intentionally or not intentionally under the radar game. And so I just see no reason to get rid of Ashley right now. And then I have Chrissy at number 1 because I don't think anyone wants to get rid of her. Lauren said in many of her exit interviews that had she made it to this week, she was intending on working with Chrissy. And so I think people know that they want to bring Chrissy to the end and they want to work with her and use her as a way to get themselves there. So I think Chrissy's actually in a fantastic position, not only because other people want to use her, but this is her chance to capitalize on the fact that people do want to strategize there. And this is her chance to prove to the jury, like, I'm not a terrible person, because as I've said every 3 days for the past couple months, I have not seen a reason to really dislike Chrissy other than occasional cockiness. So this is her chance to really prove that.
Yeah, and I think the thing is right now is everybody sees Chrissy somebody that they can beat, or at least everybody thinks that they can beat Chrissy at this point. So that's why they're all sitting here saying, okay, like, let's just take Chrissy with us to the end, like, whatever. But my biggest fear for Chrissy, and I only have her at 3. I mean, there's only 6 people left, so what does it really matter? Mm-hmm. But the reason that I have her at 3 and below Ryan is because Ben has been playing so personally this entire game. If he finds an idol and all 5 of them decide to vote for Ben because he's like the clear target right now, you need to get rid of him, but he finds another idol and he plays it, he's getting rid of Chrissy, because Chrissy's the #1 target on his radar. He did it with Cole the entire game. Did it with Lauren last week. He gets rid of Lauren, who was somebody he could have easily still been an ally with, and instead of getting rid of anybody else, he gets rid of Lauren last week. And it was his vote that got Lauren out, and I think that if he does it again, this time it's going to be Chrissy.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, but I guess he'd been wanting to get rid of Joe and Cole for a long time, and now there isn't that much time left. There's what councils left? One this week.
There's only 3 tribal. There's only 3 tribal councils, but it's still Ben has not played it any other way. It's been personal, and I think that's why, like, I'm not sold that he won't just keep it personal. He likes Devin, I think.
Yeah. No, I totally think he'll keep it personal, but I think if I'm like Ashley, or if I'm anyone else in that group, I want to get rid of Ben, not Chrissy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But the problem is right now they can't split votes. They can't split votes.
Yeah.
So if Ben gets the idol and Ben plays the idol and all 5 of them vote for Ben again, because it's like there's no way you can find an idol again, Ben plays his idol, it's Chrissy that he's going for.
I know. That's why, and this has nothing to do with like how I feel about any of these players, but with 6 people left, I don't want an idol replanted. Because now it's just too tight, and we'll see something like last week where someone goes home with only 1 vote. And I'm not saying that Lauren going home wasn't fair, because it was completely fair, and Ben but with so few people left, that's not how I want people to go home. So I hope for just my viewing pleasure that there isn't another idol out there.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? At this point, because it's been such a mess and because I don't really feel super connected to any of these people, I'm not saying I need any of them to win right now. I love all 6 people who are left. I'm enjoying watching them play, but I don't need any of them to win right now. So if they want to throw an idol out, I'm not going to be like Sari heartbroken if one of them goes home with like no votes. Like, it's just like,
oh my God,
whatever. You know what I mean? And it's only 1 vote at this time. It's only 1 idol at this time. So at least we're not going to be in a situation where 4 people are safe and Sari goes home for literally no reason. Like, I think I'm okay with it if another idol gets planted. They would never have one at 5 anyway, so this is really the last chance. And if it adds to the drama, I would love to see like an Amanda type move, or a Gary Hogaboom, where we don't actually know if they found it, which I don't think they would do ever again. But I would love to know, like, we don't know if they actually found the idol or not, and Ben comes in and Ben ends up having found it and like plays the idol and like sends home somebody. Like, that would be so much fun if they pulled one of those on us.
Like you said, I don't think they're ever going to do that again. But man, I hope they do. I wish they do. I love not knowing if someone found an idol. And I know I've endlessly complained about production not making everything clear for me and laying everything out for me. But that's like an element of surprise. That's me going into tribal council being like, okay, I know Amanda was looking. I know Gary was looking, but did they actually find it? I miss that feeling. You don't get that much often anymore.
No, you don't. Mm-hmm. So that's, that's a little. It is what it is, but
so that's life.
All right. So that's our power rankings. I mean, we just ripped through that. I mean,
that was a quick one, which is at this point, yeah. But like, he's actually
6 people.
I saw something on Twitter. Do you want to do like a 2-2-2?
Well, I mean, I think the favorites to win. At least in my eyes, it's got to be Devin or it's got to be Ben. I'd say 3 is Mike, so I'd put him in the middle with Ashley, and then I'd put Chrissy and Ryan at the bottom. I mean, Ryan can still win. So maybe I'm wrong where I'm putting Ryan, and that was too much of a knee-jerk reaction. But I really do feel like Ryan is in a position right now where he's burned bridges. Like, he hasn't burned them to the extent that Chrissy has, but I do feel like people are looking at Ryan like, God, you were so close with me. And I don't and the people who are sitting on that jury, he didn't have a tight alliance with any of them that he kept. Like we know Mike would get Cole, Joe. Mike would get Cole, Joe, and Desi. Okay, so those are 3 votes for him. Who's Ryan guaranteed to get if they're sitting over there? And Chrissy's probably going to be sitting next to him if he gets to the final 3.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he has to get rid of Chrissy to get that vote, to get like that quote unquote guaranteed vote. But I would switch Ashley and Ryan. I would put Ryan in the maybe, Ashley in the probably not. But I agree with you in that Ryan doesn't have a guaranteed vote. But I don't think anyone outwardly hates Ryan. No one's, in their exit interview just trashing Ryan the entire time. That's going to Chrissy. The thing with Ryan, like you said, is that no one loves him. But at the same time, everyone's like, yeah, we talked and he was funny, but I didn't feel anything personal. And this game is all about personal connection. So I guess like I put him in the maybe because I don't think anyone loves him, but I don't think anyone hates him, which nets out to a big question mark.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Ashley, I still put in the middle because I still have no idea with Ashley. Like I've been saying it the whole season. I just throw Ashley in the middle every time because I'm like, said you don't think she'll go home. You put her at 2 because she's a challenge threat. Nobody's really looked at that. If Ben wins the immunity challenge, I could see them targeting Ashley because she actually is seen as more of a challenge threat than Devin, which is shocking. You would think Devin would be the bigger challenge threat, but Ashley's killed it in the challenges, and Devin really hasn't. So I think if they do decide to team up and be like, we got to get rid of the more likable people, then Ashley's your girl who goes.
Yeah, she's killed it in the challenges since day 1, and that's not just because she spends a lot of her life in water. I mean, she's just been good at everything.
Yeah. So, do you want to update on prop bet and all that? What were the prop bets from last week? I know there was a bunch.
So Lauren got less than 5 votes. Lauren only had 3 votes cast against her overall in the whole season. I guess 2 from Patrick and then 1 from Ben, and then she went home. Lauren got less than 5 votes. Chrissy got the episode title. Lauren made jury.
Had a confessional in every episode too.
Did she really?
Yeah, and I picked that, and I remember picking that at the beginning of the season, being like, she's gonna go out early, and then that's gonna be it. And then she goes all the way this deep, and still I got it.
Oh wow! Then the prop bet ones are off because I did not include that. I totally did not think, and I didn't have time to check today. Damn.
That's all right. Okay. I'm here to save the day. We don't need to announce it now. We can put it up. We can put it up later.
All right. Well, we can announce everything else. So Ben won the MVP vote, so my MVP spotlight of him will come out later tonight. Chrissy ended up getting the LVP, and then in terms of the boot list, I called this at the beginning. Lauren was the boot list killer. She destroyed everyone's boot list. I was pretty much just typing like 11 points into every single person's boot list. I think there were 3 people who called her at number 7. I should have called them out because there were so few of them. But everyone has kind of been hoping for Adam Klein to have Lauren lose, but the joke's on all of us. He's still in first place. Adam Klein has 38 points, but everyone else, for number 2, we have Jay Uke with 44 points. And then in third place, Sarah Christine and Valerie Beretta are tied with 46 points. So it's still anyone's game. I don't know if Adam can lose because his top 6 is the top 6.
Oh, so God.
I think it kind of nets out that way, but I would still like to keep some suspense.
Here's Adam like out there hanging out in like Fiji right now. Maybe like all the buffs we're getting him, he should just like reimburse us by giving us a trip to Fiji, right? We keep having to buy him all these damn buffs. Yeah,
how about this? We buy Adam a buff, but then Adam ships us off to Fiji.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think we should text him. I think that's the only option.
I am going to text him. He's in Fiji. What time is it in Fiji right now?
They're probably like 14 hours ahead.
I don't know. I think he's with Jay. Does Jay sleep? So I'm sure that it's fine.
Do you just have like a live stream video of them like hanging out?
No, it's all over Instagram.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, they are putting it like on their story, so it is kind of like a live stream hangout. Anyway.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So yeah, okay. So I'll update that boot list score, and then I'll fix that up on the Facebook page. I'm trying to think of what else in the meantime. I think that's kind of it for scores. You want to go over to Twitter?
Yeah, let's go over to Twitter. We can start with. Let's start with Survivor Patty. This is important because everybody's giving her a hard time. Lauren did bring the extra vote with her. Oh, my God. She could have made it a tie by voting for anyone else but Ben. Yeah, she could have made it a tie, but she didn't know Ben was going to play the idol. And I think she just wanted to not have to play that because I think she knew she had the votes. I just don't think she actually knew Ben had the idol.
Do you want to do the next one? Because for some reason I can't.
Yeah, we got Gamer Girl. Are you going to do a review wrap-up podcast for this season just like you did for Koro and Game Changers? We might, but we're kind of hoping that we can get some of the survivors on maybe and maybe like interview instead of doing that, because I know that was kind of like a what do you call it? That was kind of like a filler when we did it.
Yeah, I mean, we're really hoping that we can get some people on this off season, especially because like we've talked about, this has been a really wild season, and I would love to hear from these players more than just from what we've read in the exit interviews. I really want to hear mostly about the relationships, not so much about the gameplay, but just who actually liked who and who was actually close with who. I remember during the Millennials versus Gen X interviews that you and Will did, hearing that Adam and Jessica Lewis were as close as they were was really interesting. Like, they would always check in with each other, and they were on opposite alliances, and I never expected that. So I'd really like to hear a lot of that kind of stuff. I think that'd be cool. So yeah, stay tuned. We're hoping to get some good for you guys.
Hopefully, we didn't do much after Game Changers. Hopefully this time we can.
Yeah. Jimmy O, I already said this in the reply to the 5, but I really do think Ashley would go home. I think Devin and Ashley will be in the minority, and they're going to perceive her as the bigger threat due to her immunity challenge wins.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was kind of saying by putting her at 5. I mean, I think that she has a good chance to be too much of a threat. She's really good at challenges, and really out of the people left in the game, she's probably the best left. I
bet she is too. I mean, she and Lauren were kind of the two best, and JP and Desi and Cole, and look where they're all sitting.
They're all gone, exactly. I mean, they're all gone. So I really do. Go ahead. Where am I?
Sorry. Do you want to go? I'm kind of.
Yeah, Gamer Girl, since you guys loved this question last season, I'm going to ask it again this season. I'll only ask it if the quality of the season matches the quality of the intro. This season so far does so good. So did the good intro foreshadow a good season? Sorry, I completely forgot how to read halfway through that. But she's saying, did the good intro foreshadow a good season? I mean, I don't know. Maybe. Did I watch the intro for this season? I don't know.
Did Phil watch it? To be determined.
To be determined.
Yeah, I liked the intro. I mean, we didn't get the whole one, so when I was watching it at EW.com, I really liked it. Yeah, I liked the theme of the season. Like, the music was really good. They said it was very very influenced by like Indian culture, and that's why it has kind of that, I don't know, like a different sound. I'm really liking the music this season, so I guess that comes with the intro. And there are a lot of cool, like, angry, like, actually I really like Joe. He's like screaming and you actually hear the scream in the background. That's very cool. I'm a big fan of that.
Can I just say, I really, really, really miss the days when it used to be like the still pictures of them, because they like didn't even have any footage of them playing. So like Sonia just like sitting there.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved that a lot. But then you had like Kelly, but also in that same season you had Kelly like kind of winking in it too. Was that later on in Borneo?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's look that up. Because that's like the Borneo intro is awesome. Gamer Girl, a lot of people in Survivor Facebook groups have been talking about this nonstop. What do you think the patch on Ben's shoulder is? They think it's an inappropriate tattoo. It's probably something. It's either like a name or like a. This is my work mind. It could be like a brand. Like it's something that for whatever reason they don't want on TV, unless he has a crazy burn on his shoulder. And
it could be a crazy burn or something. I mean, I would
Guatemala. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, and they do try to hide that sometimes, and they don't really draw too much attention to it. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, unless it's, I don't know. I can't imagine it's anything particularly inappropriate.
Yeah, I don't think it would be. I'd be kind of surprised at that. So.
Survivor Patty, who do you think is running the jury house with more persuasive arguments for their favorite? I actually think Desi is could kind of be running that. Not just because she's the first person, but I think that's a huge advantage for her. But I think people really respect her opinion, and she has been watching since the beginning of the merge. I think, I feel like Joe, it's going to be kind of the same as he was on the island. I feel like people will listen to him, but only take him so seriously. I think Lauren, they'll take very seriously. Cole, I think Cole or JP, they're not going to listen to too much. So I'm actually going to go with Desi on that one. I think she's very, very persuasive. She's very smart. She's very observant. I think her being the first jury member was really good for her because she'll really have a huge say in who wins this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are we up to? My thing's like late.
I was at Survivor Patty. Who do you think's running the jury house?
You should go with another one.
I will do that. The Ghost of Survivor Future. I could see Mike pulling a Michelle and win immunity once it comes to light that he is a threat. Too little, too late for the players who sleep on him too long. I think he could pull a Michelle. Actually, this was your theory, that he could pull a Michelle and win one of those last challenges, but I don't think it will help him in the sense of people think he's a threat. I think it will help him because he can prove that he's a threat.
Yeah, exactly. It'll make him look actually better where it's like, guys, I won the last challenge. I got to this point. I'm the reason that these people are sitting here.
Yeah.
And I made this.
And I voted out Ben. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we got Survivor Patty. I think we'll have a blind side, either Devin or Ashley going home because Ben wins immunity challenge. I do think it's Devin or Ashley go home if Ben wins, but I hope Ben doesn't win.
Survivor Patty, wouldn't it be a great play for Ryan and Chrissy get Devin out because he's the only one that knows about the Chrissy fake idol? Yeah, that's a good point. Is this fake idol going to make a special guest appearance, or is it going to be a nice souvenir for Chrissy to take home?
I think it's just a souvenir for Chrissy at this point. They haven't brought it up in so long. I feel like they would have had to have brought it up throughout the season.
Yeah, they only brought it up after the Katrina vote, like on the second episode, which made me feel like it is going to come up, but I don't know. I at this point I don't really know how much use it has.
I don't think they can get it. So.
I don't know how much use fake idols have anyway. I've never really been like a big fan of them.
Chris Gotti, is it weird that we have heard less from Ryan as time has gone on? I think that makes him have less of a chance than Chrissy in the end, and Chrissy has been very humanized these past few weeks. Ryan was like a big, he's a great narrator, and I think that's why we heard so much from him early on, and his tribe was losing all the time in the beginning of this game. I mean, they lost two on Hustler Beach, then they lost 2 once they swapped. He was a big reason why all those people went home. He was a big reason why Patrick went home. He's a big reason why Allie went home. It seemed like him and Allie were going to work together all the way through this game. And I think Ryan's a case of, we'll see how it ends up going down, but I think Ryan's a case of playing too hard too fast. And that's why he was great in the beginning of the game. And then as time goes on, his mistakes and his aggressiveness start to catch up to him. Because I think because those moves worked early for him, I think he got that in his head where it's like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do anything I need to. And then all of a sudden, he hits this point where it goes against him, and it's like, oh crap, I just lost his ego just deflates, you know?
Yeah, well, I think the JP vote was a great example of that for both of them. They both were scrambling at the bottom, and everyone was like, no, I don't want to play with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Isaacs, which pair would make the most interesting final tribal council? For entertainment value, you go ahead.
I was just going to say the best final 3 is Devin, Ben, Mike. Because Devin, Ben, Mike, they all have people on the jury. I think Ben's probably played the best game. I think Devin's played a really under-the-radar game, and I think Mike has guaranteed votes on the jury. So I think those 3, that's the best final 3, where everybody gets votes. I think if you put in anybody else in there, there's going to be somebody who doesn't get votes. Although Chrissy's got to guarantee JP, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I would trade Chrissy for Ben, maybe. I don't know. Or
I would love to see Ben sit there though and have to face Joe and have to face Chrissy and have to face Lauren. I would love to see that because he probably has played the best game. But how is he going to convince them to give him the money after the way he's kind of treated everybody?
Yeah, for sure. Gamer Girl, do you think we'll get a final 3 of a hero, a healer, and a hustler? Probably.
Now I'm a believer that we will. At first, when I think she asked this question back at final 9 or final 10, or right after Joe went, and I was like, no way, we're not getting that. But I will say, I really think that Mike is getting there. I think that either Ryan or Devin's going to be sitting there, and I do think it's going to. I wouldn't be surprised if Chrissy's definitely in. So I think we're going to get it.
Yeah, I was going to say confidently Chrissy, so I would say Chrissy, Mike, and Devin. Actually.
Yeah. Or it's Chrissy, Mike, and Ryan, somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of combinations to go through next week.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that's those. Did you? We have.
Yeah, I updated that. I can go.
You should go first. Clearly, I'm
going over to YouTube. We have El Claire 1000, worst challenge in Survivor history, 35 seasons, point blank, period. Sad to see Lauren gone. I like Ben. he survives these next votes like Mike did in winning out, then he deserves it. But I'm hoping for a Devin win. It's kind of a roller coaster. But yeah, that challenge, I came into work the next day and I was talking to a couple of my friends and they were all just like, what the F was that? Like that was just, I just, yeah, I don't get it. I didn't like it. The Fiji one, I haven't rewatched Fiji this weekend to try to figure out what challenge you were talking about, but was it the one where they have to dance?
Yeah, it was the dance one. There's also one, I think it might have been Cook Islands. I think I might have been wrong, but it's like they play like 21 and it's so bad. Like it's really poorly done and it's really boring to watch. Yeah. And I'm not really familiar with it.
And like here, I mean, this isn't nearly as bad. Like Heroes versus Villains, they basically played like hand shuffleboard. We watched some bocce ball. We watched them eat meat off of a stick. But at least those, like you earned those. Like you played the better shuffleboard or you pulled more meat off of that poor carcass. Like at least you earned it, you know?
Watching Ozzy dislocate his jaw was a good time.
Oh God, that was horrifying.
Yeah.
And then you get to eat your spitty meat afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Like, congratulations. You all just licked this. Now have fun. Ugh. All right, anyway. Let's go to the next one we got is Alex Newell. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is Devin the only one left who hasn't had a vote cast against him? That is correct.
That is correct.
Very interesting, considering how threatening this man should be. But yeah, he hasn't gotten a single vote.
Yeah, he could be en route for a perfect game. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Wow. Could he? I don't think he could get the perfect game, though. And I'll tell you why. I don't think he gets every vote at Tribal, no matter who he sits next to. Because if he sits next to Mike, that's a guaranteed Joe or something. If he sits next to Chrissy, JP's definitely voting for Chrissy. Like, the perfect games have to be played in a situation where, like, whoever you're sitting next to never had a day one best friend ally. And, like, Adam had that with Hannah and Ken, and Jeremy had that with Spencer and Tasha. But I don't think in this season, I think everybody who's left has, like, a day one guy.
Mm-hmm. I think he could. I think his only option is, you're right, nothing with Mike. I think Chrissy and Ashley, because Ashley's kind of his day one. And then JP, if JP's the only person who voted for Chrissy, there was some relationship between JP and Devin. So I think maybe he could pull JP and like hope that JP doesn't want to give Chrissy the vote because he knows that no one else will. That's the only path that I see for him getting a perfect game.
I see what ends up happening is JP seems so stubborn in his ways where they can't sway him on anything. And I think he goes, yeah, I vote for Chrissy because Chrissy was my best friend and things like that.
See, I don't think he's things like that. I don't think he's stubborn. I actually think they could sell him.
I think he's a little stubborn. I mean, I think like we saw how easily he was swayed when it was like, hey, Rourke wants an all-girls alliance. Oh, she has to go. Like, it's simple like that, but I think once JP sets his mind on something, it's very hard to change his mind on that. And he was really close with Chrissy. I mean, him and Chrissy, since day one, were tight. I mean, even like when all this stuff was going on with like Ashley and JP, Chrissy wasn't like down his throat with it. Like, oh my God, like this is so bad. I think she like really did side with him and like offer him like an olive branch while Alan was losing his mind.
Mm-hmm. I think it also could depend on how much they're trashing her at Final Tribal Council. I think if they're like really harassing her, he would give her the vote.
I think he would want her to get second place.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Shoe 14. Hated the rack challenge as much as anyone, but in an episode that already seemed rushed. It was nice to have a reward challenge that lasted less than 5 minutes. Yeah, that's a good point. And this, I complained about this in our recap, but this episode was just all over the place. It was super rushed. It was very, very weirdly cut. And I know there was a lot to get in it, but that's a good point. I guess we did save a couple of minutes with that.
Yeah, and at this point, like, reward challenges aren't all that great anyway. Like, they're not that necessary. They give so much food out now for the rewards that it's just kind of like whatever. Mm-hmm. But I do think that, like, in this situation where, like, it's the family visit, it should have been more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Neo Kuro, they really need to stop with the conversations that Tribal has happened back in previous seasons, and it's a total mess, and it's like the students help each other during an exam or a test. I mean, it's a live game. I'm all for it. I think if it happens, it happens. I mean, let them go. Let them do what they got to do. I mean, it's better TV than them just sitting there. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on it a lot. I like it from a TV standpoint, and like kind of to play devil's advocate on myself, we complained a ton about when Michaela went home and Game Changers, because we were like, how did they, like, why did Michaela go home? We don't know. It was just like the Haley boot. But I think there was actually zero planning to get rid of Michaela. That happened because of the live tribal. So that's the risk that we bear by asking for these. And then this is no one's fault, but Jeff used to be way more strict about these in earlier seasons. And so for, those players earlier on who wanted to stand up and Jeff was like, you need to sit back down, that kind of sucks. But as a viewer, I think it's a ton of fun.
How can we get Greg Buis back on the show so that he can just walk around at tribal council and like go play with the cameraman or whatever he wants to do?
Start crying.
Yeah, how can we make that happen?
I think we need a hashtag.
We do.
I know there's like the hashtag bring back Figgy. So if that's trending, then we can bring back Greg.
Bring back Buis.
Ooh,
that sounds so much better anyway.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alexa.
Oh, I'll do this one. Stephen Davis, he always has like really insightful comments. Ben's idle play was full on. So you know me, very insightful. Ben's idle play was full on masterful, one of the best in recent memory, but he's incredibly exposed. However, I think that considering he was the target tonight and that he was absolutely correct in knowing that his alliance was gunning for him, he isn't any worse off than he would have been. His idol's gone and people will be watching him like a hawk, but I actually think that might be best for his game. Ben's abrasiveness may be seen as a boon for someone like Chrissy, who may put aside her differences with Ben if she thinks that he's burned too many bridges and decides to go after bigger social threats like Ashley or Devin. I completely agree with the second half of that. That's what I'd said earlier about Chrissy. People are going to start approaching her, and this is her chance to really turn the tides of people. And for what he said about Ben exposing himself, that's kind of the big part of my MVP spotlight of him. Like, yeah, he exposed himself for having an idol, but what was his other option? Go home? What, I don't know really what people would have.
Well, he had to play the idol, absolutely. But the biggest problem with this whole thing is it comes back down to Chrissy and Ben are playing so personal games. Their games are so personal. They hate each other at this point. There's no way they can do it. Mm-hmm. They just hate each other at this point.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we got Nick P, who from this season that has been voted out so far would you like to see play again? For me, it's Allie, Joe, and Lauren so far. Definitely Lauren, though. She's great TV. Can't really explain why, because she doesn't have the personality to be entertaining. That's funny.
I think that's why she's entertaining, because she's so normal, and she's just super sarcastic.
Yeah. I would say Lauren, Allie, Jessica. Jessica's like my number one because Jessica got so robbed here. I want to see Jessica play again so bad. And I'm not saying robbed in a way like she lost badly, just robbed in a way of like we were robbed of Jessica. I want Jessica. I want Lauren. I want Allie. I would love to see Joe play again because I think Joe would play the exact same game and it's so much fun to watch. I
do like when people play the exact same game the second time around.
Yeah, and I really like this cast. I mean, just in general, I really like this cast. It was the same thing with like Millennials vs. Gen X, but even like with Millennials vs. Gen X, there's only so many people that you might bring back from that season. Like they already brought back Michaela and Zeke. Like to see Jay play again, like to see David play again. There's people in there that you'd like to see play again, but like I feel like this season has a few more that are kind of like they're different in terms of what we've seen. Like we've seen somebody play the game like Brett. We've seen somebody play the game like Ken and Hannah, like who they would probably never bring back anyway. Jessica Lewis, we've seen people play the game like Jessica. As weird as her edit was, she still played like more of like a normal game. This season, there's been a lot of weird gameplay and a lot of like characters that are kind of going against what your expectation is, like Lauren, like Devin, who's coming across as pretty smart. I mean, I wouldn't even mind like seeing Cole come out there and just like learn again. Jessica was great. So I think that there's a lot of people on the season just because they're a little bit.
I mean, you said a little bit, and then I completely lost you.
Off, in terms of like what you're used to.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like for a lot of these players, like I can't wait to go back and listen to our preseason videos and listen to what we have to say, because I think we're so backwards on all of it. And that's really good because our whole theme of the season has been that people are complex and that Chrissy and Ben are not the worst people on the face of this planet. Like they just aren't eating much and are occasionally cocky here and there. And Joe is just a massive troll. He's still a good guy who loves his kids, you know? So I think we'll probably get more people from this season, because I think there was a lot of any of these people could have won. I don't think in millennials versus Gen X that everyone could have won. I think so many of these players could have won this season.
Players have more to learn. I think a lot of the millennials versus Gen X players might have played their best game that season. Whereas I think this season, there's a lot of people who have a lot more to learn from. Like Jessica is somebody who could come back for another season and play much better, I think. And so is Figgy. But like in terms of like David, that might be the best we ever get to see David play because he's just such a threat.
David was going to be my example. I don't think David can go farther than he did because he's such a threat, like you said.
Yeah, and I think it's like the same thing. If you have Brett come out again, like Brett's a really likable guy. How far are you going to let him go? Because this time he might play a little more cutthroat and he'd win the thing. So I think that they've probably played the best games they can. I think that somebody like Chrissy could be somebody who gets 0 votes in the final 3 this time and then goes and wins the game another time. Same 100%. Thing with Ryan. Same thing with Mike. Like I think that is the situation you're in right now, which is why I'd probably give the edge to this cast a little bit.
Yeah, we could get a second chances too, and it could literally just be seasons 33 and 35.
Yeah, and throw me 32 too. I'll take them.
And
I'll
then
take
Greg,
those
plus Greg.
Yes, plus Greg. Exactly. Jordan Stoms. Could Lauren just have grabbed the shell out of the fire with a stick or something? Or once something goes in the fire, is it dead? I was yelling at my TV for her to pull it out. She talked about this in her exit interview with Gordon Holmes. She pretty much said that she didn't even think about it because she was so shocked that Mike just threw it in there.
Yeah, and I bet if she did, I don't think it would have died. I think Jeff would have let her throw her lifeless body into that fire for the chance of getting it. I mean, could you?
Is the shell going to burn? Probably not.
Is what?
The shell probably wouldn't even burn.
No, it's just. I mean, it's just a shell. I don't think shells. I mean, I'm sure they can burn, but not. That fire isn't like particularly strong in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And then she said, like, yeah, when I was walking down after getting voted out, I was thinking, man, I should have jumped in that fire.
Yeah.
Log Chi. Ever since Earl invented fake idols in Fiji, they've become a very popular strategy. Do you think it's a good strategy idea or a bad strategy idea? I haven't, like, I don't know. I'm not really sold on their value.
Well, I think this one had great value for Ben because they didn't think he had a real one because he had the fake one. I think it had great value for him. I think we've seen it have value before in the past. I think Rupert did pretty well when he just had a rock in his pocket. Like we've seen situations where the fake idols have worked. Eliza got to play a stick. It was funny, but she's sitting there being kind of confident. Jamie played a stick. It was funny. Like, I do think that there's a purpose for fake idols. You just have to do them right. And I think somebody like Bob, who pulls out such a brilliantly made fake idol, that you're not going to want to vote for that guy. I think we're at a stage now in the game where people say, well, if it's a real idol, we'll just put all the votes on him and he'll play it and then we'll vote out somebody else because they split the votes so much. But if you can find like a situation where people are really paranoid because it's like, God, I'm going to go home if I vote for him, if that's a real idol, then they're not going to do it, but so much it just comes down to let's flush it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. It's all about flushing now.
Yeah. Gamer Girl, Lauren said that she actually had her extra vote. She should have played it and voted Mike, and on the revote tell Chrissy and Ryan that she flipped on their plan and told Devin and Ashley, and on the revote Mike goes home. See, if I'm her, I don't even know if I do that. I probably wouldn't have voted Mike because I think Mike is somebody you could work with. I probably would have ended up voting for Chrissy or Ryan to try to get one of them out. And I don't think she sniffed it out, though. And I think this is a situation where, like, she might not have realized everybody was voting with her. So she might have been like, if I change my vote, that's going to actually hurt me because not everybody's voting with me.
Yeah, I think this is a great example of, like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. She had no reason to know that she was going home because she wasn't going home. Lauren was not going home if it weren't for Ben. And I saw a comment. Someone may have put this on YouTube, and we're not going to end up reading it, but someone said, I don't understand how Ben is MVP. And Phil, you worded this the best when Joe kept winning MVP earlier this season. Ben should have gone home, and Ben didn't go home. Ben had every right to go home this week, and he didn't because of his own actions. And that's why he's the MVP.
And I always said with Joe, like Joe, yeah, he might not be playing the best game, but it was working for him. There were so many times when Joe should have gone home, but the strategy he put forth got him further in the game and got him to a position where he was able to make it further than JP. He was able to make it further than Cole. People that he should have never beaten, he was beating because of a strategy that he put into place and executed well.
Noah Smith. Ben didn't just make the fake idol to embarrass Chrissy. He said in a confessional that if Chrissy, Mike, or Ryan find this fake idol, they'll stop looking for the real one, which will give us more time to find it. Lauren is the one who thought that Ben did it solely to trick Chrissy, and for whatever reason, people only focused on, even though Ben clearly explained why he made the idol. Yeah, I mean, people are going to get mad about the part that was the loudest. But to be fair, he did want to embarrass Joe too. That, you know, you get both sides of the argument.
That is a good point though, with the whole, when you say are fake idols worth it, it is a good point where you say, because it gets them to stop looking. Jay found a fake idol, stopped looking because he thought he had the idol, plays the idol, turns out it's not a real idol. He gets hosed, but there's nothing he can do about it because he stopped looking once he figured, okay, I got the idol, whatever, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. There's a good fake idol reason right there.
Yeah. So there you go. David once again doing it. Jawad Dang. Simply love all your podcasts, Phil and Alexis. Some of my predictions came true. Ben was the biggest threat to the extent he got all the votes, but I forgot that he had to play an idol, which is why I cannot be a Survivor specialist. And Lauren's chances of winning depended on how she played her extra vote, which she could have used to vote someone else without painting a target on her back. Could have been Mike. And it's funny that everybody keeps saying that, but I think it really does come down to she didn't think that she had everyone's vote. I think stuff did change at that tribal to be like, Ben needs to go. I really think that's what happened.
Yeah. All right, last comment. Benji Mitchell. There have been 2 secret scenes, Mike and Ryan, who seem to be upset with Devin, not for exposing his alliance with Ashley, but for stepping down and taking the deal. They think that he doesn't care about the game or has no respect for it. What does this say for Devin's chances going forward? I think he'd be able to convince them. I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, I would like to hear why he stepped down for Ashley. I really hope it wasn't just for massage. It probably was to paint a bigger target on her back, but I think Devin's fine.
I think Devin's fine, and I also think that it's one of those where it's like, do you want to put yourself through this pain every time? And I don't know if he feels like he has to. It's interesting.
Yeah, especially when you know that Ashley's probably going to be able to hang on as long, if not longer, than you. Ashley
probably has a higher pain tolerance than anybody else out there, except for maybe Ben. But Ben's just not as athletic.
Yeah.
So why is he just going to really destroy himself out there? You know?
Yeah. Good point.
So.
And that's all we have for YouTube comments. We kind of got a little more than usual. It's 50 minutes.
Yeah, we almost hit an hour.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty good for our late merge predictions podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. We only have 2 more episodes left. So this is our next to last predictions episode. How exciting.
I know, yeah. This season flew by. This was a really quick one.
Really good. Really short.
Yeah, super short. But it's been really fun. I'm excited to see how it ends. So yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, for a recap of episode 13. Leave a comment on this video if you want us to read it during our recap. Because we've been doing them so late at night, we've actually been pretty much only reading Twitter comments. So if you really want us to read a comment for the recap, I would tweet at us instead of commenting on YouTube. Just for the sake of time. Tweet at us, follow us on Facebook. I'm going to post the updated boot list standings right after this. Keep an eye out for my MVP spotlight of Ben either late tonight or first thing tomorrow. And we'll be back Wednesday at midnight.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.